All right, guys, so now that you are done with your bell work, which was to create a light, a medium, and dark value on your little squares, I want to talk about how we're going to build on that. What was the point of learning that? Where can we go with this thing? So we're going to talk about drawing mediums and something called a value scale. So our objective for today is to take this knowledge of value and apply it to a drawing to transform a two-dimensional shape into a three-dimensional form, okay? We're also going to be analyzing one another's work constantly. We're going to have a few peer-to-peer activities where you guys are going to look at each other's work. You're going to offer suggestions, you're going to offer feedback, you're going to make the revisions, and then finally we're going to do a little critique of our work, okay? So our element of art focus for today, there's going to be two that we're going to focus on. The first one is value. The second one is form. Now, we talked a little bit about these two elements of art yesterday during our presentation, and today we're going to just make them our focal point, okay? So the reason why they go hand in hand is because you need value to create a form, okay? So without value, you can't give this realistic impression of a form. So an artist uses value to transform two-dimensional shapes into three-dimensional forms. I also wanted you to take notice in any of my presentations when I change the color and highlight a word, that means it's an important vocabulary word. So that is going to be one of these are two of our elements of art that will eventually be on our final exam, okay? So those are just little hints for you. Drawing mediums. Drawing mediums are what? Can anybody guess? We talked about this a little bit yesterday. Yes, Julie?
Tools an artist uses to create art.
Perfection. So tools an artist uses to create a work of art. Okay? So now, another clue I'm giving you. If I write it down on the board, that's another clue that you want to remember that, right? So you want to store that somewhere in your memory bank and know that this is going to be something that you will be tested on in the future, okay? But we're going to be using these words in all of our lessons, so they will become part of your vocabulary very quickly, okay? So medium are the tools an artist uses to create a work of art, and we are going to focus today on value and form using our new drawing medium. So on your desk, you have multiple black pencils. These black pencils are called graphite pencils, okay? They are not all the same. So if you take a look at them, there's like a little beige square at the top of the pencil, and they have letters and numbers, okay? Some of them are going to have a letter B. Some of them are going to have a letter H, okay? What do you think, or can anybody take a guess on what you think the letter H would stand for? Yes, Tommy.
Hard graphite, and it makes very sharp lines.
Perfect. So it's a hard graphite, which creates sharp, clean lines. Excellent. That means somebody was listening during our presentation yesterday. Bravo, Thomas. Okay? Now, if one graphite is soft, what do you think the other one would mean? Julie?
A soft graphite?
Soft graphite. Good. And what do you think soft graphite would be good for?
Shading.
Mm-hmm.
Dirt.
Perfect. Shading and value. So, there's also some numbers on these pencils, right? So for example, mine over here have B, 4B, 2B, 6B, and HB. So if there's a number in front of the letter, you just have to think in your head, that's how many times harder or softer it is. So if you have an H pencil, that means hard. If you have a 3H pencil, it means it's 3 times as hard as that H pencil. And same goes for B. If you have a B pencil, it's going to be soft. If you have a 6B, it's going to be 6 times as soft, right? Another thing I want you to take notice on is the different sizes of the points. So here I have an HB and a 6B. So an HB is kind of like that right in the middle pencil. It's not too hard, it's not too soft. It's like just right, okay? So that's gonna have a much smaller, pointier point, right? Where the 6B has this big, fat, black point, okay? That is so when there's more graphite touching the paper, so it'll create a nice, smooth transition, okay? So what I want you guys to do while I'm talking to you about these pencils is line them up in order. Start with your hard pencils, slowly get to your soft pencils, and write them down. So if you have a B pencil, write the letter B, make a little squiggle mark, a circle, write your name, whatever it is you feel like doing. Then I want you to take the next one. So I started with B, I'm gonna move to 2B. I'm gonna make a little scribble. Then I'm gonna take 4B, make a little scribble. And finally, I'm gonna take my 6B and I'm gonna make a little scribble. Now, is there something you guys notice that happens from this B pencil to this 6B? What happens there? Yes.
It gets darker.
It gets darker, right? And it gets darker because the 6B has a lot more graphite. If a pencil is hard, it's gonna have some clay mixed into it to kind of create that nice sharpness in it. Where a 6B pencil has a lot more graphite, so it's gonna be darker and softer. Good observation, Julie. Okay, so those are the basic differences. And you can apply those differences and use those differences when creating a value scale, okay? So now, another important thing that you guys need to know, value scale is a scale that shows a range of dark to light, or light to dark, okay? So now, the way I want you to think about this is it's like a practice. It's just a practice of going from dark to light or light to dark. I prefer that you guys start with the dark one because I find it to be a lot easier to start dark and work light. So we're gonna take those 3 tones that you guys practiced, that bell work, light, medium, dark, and we're gonna label them on our 5-block scale. These in the middle are gonna be like our transition pieces, right? So we're gonna transition from dark to medium with a little medium dark. We're gonna transition from medium to light with like a medium light, okay? So you're gonna take your 6B pencil, okay? That is the one I want everybody to start with because it is the softest and it is the easiest to work with and it will help with blending. And you are going to take that pencil and you're just going to slowly start applying value there, okay? Now I do want you guys to follow along as I work so we can work on this together, okay? And I'm gonna give you some clues along the way. So don't rush forward. Don't try to get this done in 2 minutes, okay? Art is a very slow process and it takes some time and some patience, okay? So we're gonna start with a nice dark square. Now notice I have like a couple little blotchy areas there, right? So I'm gonna go back in a different direction and go up and down and try to blend in some of those areas by layering, okay? Layering is very important in art. Layering is when you're building. You're adding different layers of gray to make it darker and add more emphasis, right? So now, think about that when you go to the next square, right? If you want to layer, you might want to start off lighter so that you can keep getting darker if need be. Another thing to think about is how are you going to actually make it lighter? What do you have to do to your hands? Yes, Julie.
You have to kind of, you gotta control it more, and you don't let it really press down as much.
Perfect. That was the key word right there. You have to learn how to control your pencil. So you're gonna just kind of get lighter on your hand, not press as hard. Let your hand slowly kind of lift, okay? And layer, right? So now I'm gonna add another layer to my medium dark and we'll see how it goes. Now, do you think that's good or do you think that's jumping too light? Good, thumbs down, right? That's jumping way too light. So we gotta add another layer because you want it to be a slow transition of dark to light, okay? So I keep going in different directions, up and down, across, zigzagged, just adding lots of layers. And that is another way to control your value, right? Where you can just kind of keep, like I said, building on it. Then you're gonna move on to the next one. Now this one, you know, you're gonna press a little bit lighter. Again, you're gonna layer a little bit less, creating this medium tone of gray. Now another thing I want you to think about is notice here, I didn't layer all the way, and you can kind of see where the lines connect. Also very messy, okay? So you wanna smooth that out. So the way I could smooth that out, like I said, is going in a different direction, okay? So you're gonna keep working on that, or keep adding layers on that until you slowly get lighter and lighter, okay? Now, let me see some of your value scales. Can you guys lift them up? Let's see where we're at. All right, not bad. What do you guys think? Is it easy? Is it hard? Good, thumbs up. All right, fantastic. Is there anything anybody is stuck on? Anything anybody would like me to review? What's that, Juliana?
What media means?
Okay, so medium, again, are the tools an artist uses to create a work of art. So Tommy, what is today's medium? Is it a Sharpie or is it a pencil?
A pencil.
It's a pencil, right? So our medium today is a graphite pencil. Now, as you guys continue working on that value scale, I want you to think about how we're going to apply that to transform it into a three-dimensional shape, okay? I know some of you are not done with this. More than welcome to keep working on it. I'm just going to introduce this next step for the other students so that we can get a head start, but we are going to continue reviewing it, and you guys will have more than enough time, I promise you, to complete everything. So we're going to start with a square, right? Then we're going to transform that square into a cube, right? And we just add a third dimension. Once you have that cube, we are going to apply some value. So now, the reason why we start with a cube is it's real easy. It only has light, medium, and dark if we really want to simplify it down to the easiest level. So if my light, my flashlight, is shining right over here, where do you think the light square would be? Would it be this one or would it be this one? Thomas?
The front.
The front, right? So this is going to be our lightest square. What about this one? Is this going to be dark or medium? Yes, Julie.
I think personally it's gonna be dark.
Yeah. So we are going to shade that one in nice and dark, right? Which leaves medium. So the top one is going to be our medium. And notice how right away it gives a much more realistic look to our cube, right? From there, you guys, by the end of today's class period, are going to be shading all of those forms, okay? So we're going to be doing a sphere, a cube, a pyramid, a cone, and a cylinder, okay? But before we get to that point, I want everybody to complete this value scale first, okay? And again, you want to have a nice, smooth transition from dark to light. Once you're done coloring in the boxes, I challenge you for some extra credit to try to do a gradient. A gradient is when you don't have the boxes and you just slowly start from dark and you work your way all the way to light. Now, this is tricky because this is a true test of pencil control because you have to have a smooth transition, a smooth gradient from dark to light, and you don't want all these gaps, okay? So you want to try really hard to make it nice and smooth going from dark to light, okay? I'm going to come around to your desks now. I want to take a look and see these value scales and see how everybody is working. And then we're going to take a second and we're going to do some peer-to-peer. So once you guys are done, you're going to turn to your right shoulder partner and you guys are going to critique one another's work using the elements of art that we discussed yesterday. Okay? All right, I'm coming around, guys. So far, so good. Everybody looks good.